ever thought of what it takes to build a home from scratch? Here with their custom home checklist, they're so excited about this. The Bro-Laws, Dave, Kenney, and Joey Fletcher are here. I'm excited for you. And I love that you guys came on all like this. You're all like humble, but really, you're super excited about this.
You're like bursting from the seams excited.
How many people can say, I built a house, like from the ground up? And this is something that you've wanted to do for a while, right?
It is. It's something that we've always dreamt as little kids, wanting to grow up and build a home. But like, I mean, we came to the show here and we were probably a couple years into our renovation business. Yeah. And now we're building our first custom home as a company. And like, the growth has been fun to go through. And it's just something that we really wanted to be able to celebrate. And we've been celebrating ourselves. Yeah. But to be able to share it with the audience as well. Because I mean, the community through social media in the building industry has been really, really great for us. Nice. Being able to lean on them for advice along the way. They've kind of told us places along the way where they've messed up and have been able to kind of give us forewarning. Mm-hmm. And then we want to be able to like share that community aspect with the Cityline community because you guys have been so generous to us as we've been growing up as well.
It's been fantastic working with you both, and this is like a milestone for you and for us because we get to share in it with you, and we love when our experts make mistakes because that's how we learn. Exactly. So there's so much to think about. First things first, you got to pick the right person for the job. So what are we talking about here?
It's all about building relationship because that's what this process is going to be, and it's going to be a long one. So that's one thing to take into account. Building a home is a very long process. These people are going to be in your life for maybe multiple years. Yes. So build a relationship of trust, and the first two people you're going to have to build that with are a general contractor, or a GC as we like to be called, and an architect who's actually going to design the home. So some things you need to take into context there are an architect is going to design a home, and if you start there and you build a great relationship and you trust them and they design this beautiful home, and then you try to take that to a general contractor or shop it around, they may tell you that's well outside your budget, whatever has been designed. So it's really important to try to build those two relationships at the same time. Right. Get a general contractor that you know you can trust, you know they're not going to try to burn you on the price, and get an architect that you know wants the design and knows your vision, and then you can have those two work together to have something that's within budget that you can actually build and love once it's done. Okay,
so those two need to get hired and starting talking to each other right away so that they're both on the same page.
Exactly. Yeah.
General contractor, by the way, these two. These two, put them on the list. Okay, next up, this is such an important one. Prepare to wait.
Yes.
It is so much hurry up and wait, whether it's a new build or you're in a reno. No one told me that. It's like, where are my countertops? What's going on? So let's talk about, like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, and this is something that we were prepared for, but I wasn't prepared for like waiting and waiting and waiting. And I'm a very excitable person. You know me.
Like, are you? I have no idea.
So when I found out that like our drawings were going in for permitting, we've already gotten through variances and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, we're on track. Things are progressing. Let's go. We started putting up fencing around the property. Woo! We shut down all the utilities. You had to have an exterminator come through to make sure there weren't rodents living in the house before a demo. So we went through all of those steps of the process, preparing. We even popped champagne. Right? We popped champagne. We were celebrating.
Full party.
Yeah. And then we waited and waited and waited because the drawings went into the city. The city has to deal with permitting, and they have engineers that have to look through things. They have to go back to the architect. There's surveyors. Everybody has to be on the same page here to make sure that the house that's designed can fit properly on this property, right?
Got it.
So there's a lot of pieces that go along in that puzzle. What I was able to do, because a lot of that's out of my control, right? Yeah. But being a GC, I was able to be the annoying person sending emails and phone calls to all of those people to make sure that it was actually happening. Because they've got large piles, they've got a lot that they're working through, and if you're not on top of it, you might get buried underneath all of their files.
Yeah, for every project, you need somebody to advocate for the project.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're the homeowner, people have made the mistake of being the homeowner and think, well, I can also manage this project.
Right.
While you're working with a family and you have all these other things, you need someone else to be doing that. Yes. Being like the annoying nudge, nudge, nudge.
Exactly.
Thank you for that. That's what's needed.
Yeah.
So, okay, you finally get your permits. You were ready to go. It's time to demolish. Like, just demolition is the part like that looks so fun. Let's talk about that that part of it.
We
It's
came in like a couple wrecking balls.
Yeah. It's so exciting. And this is the part that any kid who played with any kind of truck or little excavator, this is the part that's super exciting. So that was us. We were little kids standing on the sidelines watching these giant excavators take down this house.
So cool.
It was so satisfying to watch. It was a lot of fun, but it also came with our first hard-earned lesson.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. So a lesson we learned here is that when you are demoing a big house like this, you need to have a water truck on site. A water truck with like a big fire hose. So you want to soak that house down first, and while it's coming down, you want to be soaking it so that dust doesn't go up into the air and find its way through a gentle breeze onto neighbors' properties. Because we know how important a relationship is with a client. The relationship with the neighbors around when you're doing a new build are just as important. And unfortunately, that was something that we missed. And there was a breeze the day that this happened, and there was a lot of dust. So by the end of the day, the neighbor's car was quite covered in dust. We took precautions and came back the next day with car wash gift certificates for everybody because we wanted to take care of them as much as we could. And we even had to pay to get one of their air conditioners repaired because the amount of dust clogged the filters and overheated it. We were able to mend those relationships well, and we were actually in a better place with those neighbors now. So it kind of forced us into having more conversations and getting to know them a little bit better. So unfortunate, but you know how to turn something good if you know how to keep relationships good, right?
Listen, if I had a couple of GCs like you go, ding dong, here's some car wash certificates. Would you like some wine? How about some flowers? Maybe some chocolate. I would be happy to say okay, but the thing that you need to keep in mind when you're doing renos or a new build, whatever it is, you're annoying. There's someone being annoyed on that street by you, right? So it's noisy, there's things happening, so be nice, and it's good that you keep that top of mind.
And we had to own our mistake. I think that's a lot of things that people aren't willing to do, where we said, listen, we're really sorry, our inexperience caused this to happen, and we're willing to try to do what we can do to make it right.
Oh, I love that so much. People owning stuff, please. Just as a general rule of thumb as grown-ups, like own your mistakes. Okay, so now we have all the neighbors are on board, they love you. It's time to lay the foundation. Let's talk about that element.
So house is gone, now the surveyors come in. So they're the ones who dictate where this house gets built and how deep into the ground it goes. So they did all their markings, now it's time for the big machines to come back. They dug out for our foundation, and then you have to have a soil engineer come in. They come in to test the soil underneath the home, because you can build a strong home and a strong foundation, but if the soil isn't solid enough underneath, it can still sink.
Oh, so wouldn't that be terrible?
Exactly. So
if you dug down and then all of a sudden this soil's not good.
Now the house starts to do one of these. That's a problem. So they came through, and then we could get to the foundation.
Okay, beautiful.
And the foundation part was actually super quick. Like, that's the part that was a whirlwind, because we're waiting, but then all of a sudden, demo house, dig a hole, and then next thing you know, there is like forms up, concrete being poured, and we've got a foundation all of a sudden.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you wait and wait, and then when there's activity, there's activity. Like you get through a lot. So next is the building, and that's got to be wildly satisfying for you. So you're building now the structure of this house.
Yeah, this was huge for us. It was a lot of fun, and like, one other note is when you get into this phase of the project and you've got this big hole in the ground, you've got dirt everywhere. We didn't have a lot of room on this site because it's kind of tucked away in the corner. So building a relationship with your local hardware center is huge. So Home Hardware is able to help us schedule out our material deliveries, so that way we had what we needed when we needed it. So that way we didn't just have everything on once, because it takes a lot of material to be able to build a house, right? But this is where we got to put our skills to the test and actually build from the ground up. So starting with the floor system and putting all of your joists across and subfloor and standing walls was so satisfying, Tracy. This is something I've seen people do so many times, and to be able to do it yourself, to build the wall, you lay it out on the ground often when you build it first, and then you all get around it, and you lift that wall up into place, you level it and nail it in, and it was so much fun.
I remember we only moved once when I was a kid, and that was in 1985, and there was like a weekly drive to the new house as it was being built. There's something so exciting about that. So you all are doing it. I'm sure the homeowners are as well. They're looking at the progress. They're really excited. And I love that we are going to sort of do the whole journey with you.
Yes,
right?
We've got trades coming through next. And then we can do drywall in the interior, and there's lots to share with you for that.
Very good. Thank you, guys.